Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be doing a topic that I've really wanted to cover for a long time because I think it'll clear up a lot of questions that people have about their silver and gold pennies. So basically, I have some coins in my hand. They're pennies, and they are either silver or gold in color, and there's a fair amount of different explanations for why these coins have that discoloration from a normal, regular penny. Now, they're probably not going to be silver or gold, but they could range in value from either 1 cent all the way up to several $1,000,000, or potentially being so rare that they're illegal to own or sell. But for the complete rundown on what your silver or gold penny may actually be and what it's worth, stick around and watch the rest of the video. Before we get into the presentation, though, I just want to highlight what some of them might look like. Here we have a 1943 penny. We'll talk about that a fair amount with this type of back. This is a more worn example of a 1943 penny. This one is from 1985 and has a similar type of coloration, though you do see a copper rim there. This one is from 1970 with the Denver mint mark, and it kind of looks gold. This one over here, a little earlier, 1960, also looks a bit gold. And then here we have another 1943. So I'll cover everything. This one has a Lincoln Memorial back. There's a variety of things that you will be choosing from, but that will all be covered in the presentation. So the first and least valuable penny possibility when the coin is silver in color is going to be a plated one. And those are only going to be worth 1 cent unless the coin is otherwise really valuable, like a really key date or something like that. As you can see over here, there is not really, it's not like an authentic strike. I know that when I showed you before, you could see a bit of a copper rim. Over here, this is a plated look. It wouldn't be struck this way. It wouldn't come across the way that it does here, and this is something that you'll have an eye for, but often the zinc pennies from 1943 especially are replated and then given to newer collectors as novelty items, but the plating of a penny really damages it, and worst case scenario, it takes a valuable coin and brings it down. But the good news is that it can't get any less valuable than 1 cent. So, for example, this 1985 cent would have been worth 1 cent anyways. Moving forwards, we have another silver penny possibility. This one is the steel zinc penny from 1943. There's 1943 P, D, and S. Those represent the different mint marks, so if there's no mint mark, that means it's produced at Philadelphia. There is no P that's actually put on the coin. Then the back of the coin will look like this. In pretty average circulated grades, the coin is not worth too much since there were so many of them made. It'll probably be about a 10-cent coin, but it's really interesting and a fun piece of American coin history, while the coins in the really, really good grades can be worth about $50, maybe a little bit more if there's a specific error, but I'm not really going to go into those. That would be something I'd reserve for a separate video, but that's often what these silver pennies are. But they're only silver in color. They're not silver in their actual content. That's the really important thing to note. So if somebody's telling you that this is a silver investment, it's not. It's only that the coin is silver in color technically, but it's really only steel or zinc metal. Now, the third possibility for a silver in color penny is a 1944 steel and zinc penny. And the previous one was 1943. That was the year that they were supposed to be made out of this alloy of steel and zinc. But the coin that I'm showing you here, the 1944 were not meant to be struck silver. So obviously, if you have one that's in silver color, you really want to make sure that it's not one of these super valuable coins that has a bottom of about 30,000. A few were struck in error on these planchets. Now, the thing to note is that often people will plate 1944 coins with some type of silver metal on the outside to make it look like one of these rare errors, but that can generally be detected and definitely would be detected by a coin grading company or something like that. But there is definitely a possibility that it's one of these better coins if you have one. And then the last possibility only would occur on 1974 pennies, and those are the aluminum pennies. The mint was thinking about making the pennies out of aluminum and made a lot of them in 1974, but most of them ended up getting melted down. However, there are a few that have escaped that melting process, and they're technically illegal to own, so it would be quite a fine and kind of a very interesting proceeding afterwards if you did find one of those silver 1974 pennies. Now, obviously, they're not silver. Pennies were never made out of silver, so it won't be, but it will be silver in color because aluminum is that color. And the values on this, though, are probably 2 million plus. I mean, this would be an incredible piece of news if somebody actually did end up finding one of these and it was real. And then a lot of people also plate regular 1974 pennies trying to fake an aluminum, but the aluminum will also be a lot lighter because aluminum is about a third of the weight of copper, which made up the pennies in 1974 at the time. And then I have some slightly bad news about the gold penny. There's only one real possibility, since pennies definitely were never ever made out of gold, and that is that it is a gold-plated penny. People do this often. They plate coins, maybe they'll resell it, or they might just do it for fun. And these are some examples, that I showed you. They're easy to detect. This is basically the only explanation, though. And it'll be worth 1 cent unless, it's a really valuable coin, had it not been plated, in which its value will decrease significantly as a result of being plated. So that's kind of some bad news, but, it's important to know. And unfortunately, it's fun to keep these if you want as a couple kind of novelty, special, cool things, but you just have to realize that they're not worth anything over 1 cent. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already, I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay in contact with me on my Instagram, TreasureTownYT, Facebook, TreasureTown, or my website, TreasureTownYT.com. And I love receiving packages from you guys. I'll unbox them in a video once I get enough, and my address for that is TreasureTown, P.O. Box 201, Greenwich, Connecticut, 06836. So I'll see you on some of my other videos.